Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back. I really hope you're enjoying all of this content because it is more than you're used to. Yesterday, Saturday, I was on with Lance Williams, my usual co-host for the flagship podcast, The Standard is the Standard. And here we are on Sunday, back again, another Steelers preview. What is this, like 3 and 4 days? I don't know. It's not the whole crew. It's just myself and Dave Schofield. The reason why we're on here is because we're going to announce the winner of our giveaway, the 2 tickets to the Pittsburgh Steelers draft party at Heinz Field this upcoming Saturday. We're recording this on Easter Sunday. But before we get into all the questions and all the answers and who the winner was, I'd like to welcome Dave into the show. Happy Easter, Dave. How was your day so far?
My day has been pretty good. I did end up having to crawl under a sink and take out a bunch of plumbing work in order to get a lost toy that went down the drain. That's kind of how things go on Easter around here. But other than that, it's been a real good day.
Absolutely. Same here. Weather turned out to be nice. They were calling for rain. It kind of held off where I live. And been a good Easter. Been a nice Easter, I'll say that. Now let's go let's get into the details of the giveaway for the draft party, the 2 free tickets to go. We had what's the rough number of people that actually took a stab at all 4 questions? I mean, were there a lot of people, or I don't know the answer.
I'll be honest with you. There was a good number of people that started off with it, but it did kind of fall off, especially on the last one. I don't know if people found that it was going to take a lot of work, or if I had some people answer the questions that said, I can't go. One person said, I live in Dubai, but this is fun. I want to answer the questions, but I can't go. So they wouldn't have been eligible to win, although they were not. It was pretty interesting the way it came out. I think we were in the double-digit people that answered all the questions.
The criteria for this giveaway was pretty strict. I mean, you had to be able to go. You had to answer all 4 questions, which meant you had to be a loyal listener. I mean, we now have over 2,200 subscribers on our YouTube channel. For everyone that subscribes, whether you did it because of the giveaway or whether you just found us on YouTube, thank you. If you are just now getting familiar with the show, we have a pretty good following here on YouTube. And as well as on our podcast platform. I don't want to take anything away from the audio side because trust me, it's very strong there as well. So let's get cracking with the questions itself. We had 4 questions. We're going to give you the answers to those questions so that in case you've been listening and maybe you don't live near Pittsburgh and you couldn't go, but you're like, man, I wonder what the answers were. We're going to give you the answers, and after the answers, we're going to release the name of the individual that won those tickets. So the question 1, go ahead and repeat that, Dave, so that everyone is refamiliarizing themselves with the question, then go ahead and give us the answer.
All right. The first question was, in the Kevin Colbert era, that meant from the year 2000 on, who was the only player drafted out of West Virginia University? And the answer to that one was Ryan Mundy.
Right. And I know that when Dave ran this by me, my first guess was Amos Zaraway, which I know a lot of other people said it was Amos Zaraway. But to be honest with you, that was not the Kevin Colbert era. And once Dave told me that, I've thought about it not too long, and I got it right. So Ryan Mundy was the answer to that question. Let's go to question number 2.
Yes. Another one that was thrown out there that was incorrect was Terrence Garvin. He was not actually drafted. He was an undrafted free agent.
Right. Very
good. Those were the 3 different answers that coming in. That question, I think, was probably the easiest one. A lot of people answered it without trying to look it up. The second question, everybody that answered it got it correct, but I'm pretty sure everyone looked it up just to make sure. And that was this year the Steelers have 10 draft picks going into the draft. We'll see if they use all 10 picks. The last time the Steelers made 10 draft picks in the NFL draft was in 2010.
And they actually took 10 picks in that draft.
Yes, that was a draft that included Marquise Pouncey and Antonio Brown.
All right, very good. So question 3.
Question 3 is when it got difficult. That was in the Kevin Colbert era. Who is the only player who played in 100 games, but none of them were for the Steelers? And the answer to that one was Craig Urbick.
Good old Craig Urbick. So a lot of people Wow, did a lot of people get that one right?
Yeah, a good bit of them got it right. Not everybody, but a lot of people got that one correct. Uh, the thing with him was he lost out in camp to it was Ramon Foster, right, that beat him for that last spot on the
Mm-hmm.
line. So they had to let him go. He was picked up, I think, right away by Buffalo. I know he played in Buffalo. I think Buffalo's who had him first. I'm not exactly sure, but he played for several different teams. Good long NFL career, but
Okay.
no games for the Steelers.
All right, and last, fourth and final question.
All right. Hopefully, I'm coming through here clearly. This one was difficult because it was out of the 152 picks since Kevin Colbert has become the GM of the Steelers. How many of those picks have not or have not yet played in one game for the Steelers, meaning they did not appear in any games? They could have even dressed for games, but they had to actually get on the field for a snap in order for it to count as a games played. So the easy part of that answer was there's 24 players who the Steelers have drafted that have never played in a game. The question is how many of them played in games but not for the Steelers? And I had to go through one by one every pick of the Kevin Colbert era, and I double, triple, quadruple checked because my first answer that I got was not the same answer that I got the next time because I missed A.Q. Shipley. And the answer was a nice round 40 players, that it was 40 players. Now, no one got that answer exactly right, but we did have two people. They were one lower than that. They had guessed 39, which was my original count as well. One a player that might have messed that up was what was his what was I can't remember his name now. I have it listed here. I wrote them all down just to make sure. Who was the one that got suspended for a little bit but never got on the field? Um, Ta'amu, is that how you said his last name? Do you remember him? He was a defensive
Oh,
lineman.
yeah. I remember him.
He even dressed for a game, I do believe, but didn't actually get on the field, so he didn't
Oh,
get
so it doesn't
credit.
count as a game. There you
It
go.
didn't count as a game. And here we go. Should we go ahead and announce who it was?
Yeah, the winner of our
Because
2 tickets,
they're
I guess
already in the live chat.
that's right, and that was, Bo Taylor. Bo Taylor was the winner of the NFL tickets to this draft party this Saturday. You will be receiving an email from Mr. Dave Schofield giving you all the information that you need. All that we ask is if you use social media, Twitter, well, not Instagram, we don't have an official Instagram account yet, but if you're on Twitter, tag Behind the Steel Curtain in those pictures, take some photos of what it's like at Heinz Field, video, stuff like that. Share it. That would be awesome to see that. So again, on Twitter, it's at BT Steel Curtain. If you don't have a Twitter account, you can email Dave or me, and I would love to share those with the audience, whether it's here, I'm not necessarily on YouTube, but on behindthesteelcurtain.com, as well as our social media platforms on our Facebook page, which has over 80,000 followers, on our Twitter account, which has over 23,000 followers. So make sure you do that. And it's pretty cool that Bo is in the live chat right now. Actually, he lives in California, but his parents are in PA. He entered for them to go. That is absolutely okay. They are
That's
transferable.
fantastic.
It's awesome. So that'll be a
So,
really cool gift. So go ahead, Dave.
Bo, I will contact you via email to get these transferred. Um, the easiest way, you'll have to let me know if because it's someone else that will be attending for you, how it's all going to work out. But you'll be hearing from me after the show tonight, and we'll get that all worked out.
That is pretty awesome. So now you have so hopefully your parents are tech savvy, Bo, because I still want to get some photos and videos, whatever's going on at Heinz
That's
Field.
exactly what I was thinking.
Well, I know that my parents, I don't know how old Bo is, but I know my parents, my mom and my dad both would at least be able to take some pictures and then text them. So hopefully we can get that. There you go. Bo says his mom knows how to take a picture. So that's phenomenal. Get a picture of some players, maybe them take a video of them announcing a pick. I don't know. Just get us that information. We'll be glad to share it. So that's pretty cool. This is the first time we've ever done a giveaway. I do know that during the regular season, we're going to be doing some giveaways with some t-shirts and swag, stuff like that. And look, who doesn't love a free t-shirt? Not everything is going to be as drastic as you have to answer 4 questions. Maybe it's just 1 question and the winner gets a t-shirt of their size. So keep that in mind. Make sure you share the show, subscribe so you don't miss anything, because that's awesome. So congratulations on that. Those my age. So there we go. Our parents should be about similar age. There you go. All right. So this wasn't I told Dave, because he wanted to go on and do a show to announce the winner. And I was like, let's do it. That's awesome. But I'm not just going to do a show to announce the winner. We're going to do some Steelers talk here. Okay. We're going to also have a Q&A, which a lot of people in the live chat and I've gotten emails say, when are you going to do a question and answer podcast? No agenda, just question and answers. And I was like, okay, let's do it. This is a great time. It's a great time to pick Dave's brain. He knows the draft better than I do in terms of specific players. He follows the live chat. So if you're in the live chat right now, go ahead and ask questions. He'll be sure to track them down. I have a question for him that is going to kick us off, and it's the headline of this episode. And that is, I gave a scenario the other day, and I think people hate my scenarios. I think it causes great discussion, my draft scenarios. For instance, I did the first one where DK Metcalf was the Steelers pick, and people were like, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid. I can't believe anyone would write this stuff. This is garbage, blah. You know what the normal commenter stuff is. But for me, it causes discussion. It gets people talking. Well, would you want a receiver? If you wanted a receiver, is it just not Metcalf, or is it to the position? That's what I like. A lot of the stuff that I write is to create discussion. So I did a second scenario on what if all of the prospects that the Steelers had earmarked as first-round talents were gone. Now, there's still talented players on the board, clearly, at pick number 20, but what if they're all gone? What do you do then? Well, I've obviously said this on other shows. I said on this show, as well as the standard is the standard. I'm fine with the Steelers trading back. Trade back. But then the question comes, well, what would be considered good compensation for trading your 20th pick away? So let me ask you a question, Dave. What would be a good return for the 20th pick in terms of other picks in the NFL draft?
All right. Well, what it's going to depend on is, are you going to be going back in the first round just later, or is it going to drop you all the way to the second round?
Let's say for this scenario, you lose a first round pick. You're giving up your first round pick.
Okay, because let's go ahead and answer for both, because I think it makes a difference. Because if you're dropping down into the top of the second round, then what you're looking at is a pick. Any other picks that would be coming from that team would most likely be in the top part of each round. So in other words, if someone wants to move back up into the first round and give you, let's say, a pick in the top, let's say 8 or 10 of the second round, I'd want their third round as well. I'd say I'd take their second and their third. In order to do that, I'd maybe settle for a fourth, because the fourth round pick would be like the end of the third round. Or if they happen to have a third round comp pick, if it was the right team, where it would be the end of the third round, I would take it. Now, if you're trading back in the first round to let's say like 28 or later, you're going to want to turn around and want their second round pick as well, because that's at the very end of the second round, just ahead of what would be the top of the third. So that's what it would take for me to trade back, unless I really didn't want somebody and wanted to say, okay, I'll do it for a fourth or a fifth.
Right. But so I guess, in other words, it's the second round pick is a guarantee. You have to have the second rounder if you're going to trade out. But also, you're saying third round is almost a must.
Yeah. Well, bottom line is, if you're going to trade out, you're getting that. You're not even considering it if you're not getting the team's pick, the next pick that they have. So
right.
they're moving up with, and you're swapping the pick that would be their next pick, and then you're going to need something else. I'll be honest with you, unless they wanted to throw in, I'd even consider an extra pick for next year, like a second or third round, even for next year. Not sure where they're going to be, if you really aren't taking someone at that.
Yeah, no, that's true. I know the fan base would be absolutely livid if they said, "Oh, we're going to trade away this pick for a second round pick of this year and a third round pick in the 2020 draft." They would be absolutely livid. But remember, if everything goes to the way they're hoping with the equation, and they get a third round comp pick for Le'Veon Bell, then that would automatically give them 3 third round picks next year. That would be something worth noting. That would definitely be something worth noting. I think that a lot of people would absolutely be on board with that in 2020. But then you also think, my goodness, they have 10 draft picks this draft, and we've talked about this before. They don't need 10 players. They don't need to have 10 more players. Um, you just don't need that. So, in other words, I'm saying I'm fine with trading up. Now, this is interesting. I was earlier today contacted by SB Nation Radio, which is a part of Yahoo online sports radio, and they said we'd like you to come on and do our mock draft. Okay, and so I said, okay, how am I supposed to know on the radio who's picked before me? And they said, we'll send you an Excel spreadsheet that you can track the picks so far. So I'm not gonna badmouth them, but they said it was going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I didn't pick till like 7:30. That made me mad right off the bat. So I'm watching this Excel spreadsheet, and I'm doing work in the meantime and stuff. And oh my gosh, Devin White didn't get picked till 10th.
I'll
Okay,
be honest
now,
with you. I have a mock draft going to go on Steelers Hangover with Brian tomorrow night.
uh-huh.
I have Devin White going 10th.
Okay, and Devin Bush went 11th. They went right back to back.
I
So
had Devin Bush at 12.
okay, so let's talk about this scenario since we're talking scenarios. In that scenario, and I said this to the host when I it was my turn to talk. I said, I stuck with my pick because all the other basic glaring picks were gone. I stuck with Byron Murphy, cornerback from Washington, but I did say, hey, there were no trades in this mock draft. By the way, wasn't an option. I said if I'm the Steelers and I see Devin White hanging around 10 and the Bengals pick 11, you're trading up. You're trying to trade up. Am I right, Dave?
I'm targeting 8, Detroit. If he's still there at 8, that's when I'm really starting to make some serious push. I know Detroit would like to trade out of there. I'm looking at Detroit. I'm looking at Buffalo, any of them. If Devin White is still there, I'm there. Someone asked in the live chat, would you give up your first, third, in a late round to get Devin White? I'll be honest with you. I would give up my first and both thirds to get
Ooh.
Devin White.
Well, they have 3 thirds, don't they?
They have 2.
2. Okay. What round do they have?
They,
3. I thought they had
oh,
one round with 3. Or am I?
if they do, it's because they got 2 threes. They've got 3. They have 3 fives.
I thought that was around they had
Yeah,
3 picks. It must. Okay, that's fine.
yeah.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I think he's that good of a player. I mean, now,
I, not only is he a good player, he is a very good player in a high position of need,
yeah. Now,
which is a double whammy.
right. I think also you look at and it was crazy because you have to look at picks like the Giants because the Giants need defensive help. They lost their one of their linebackers this year in the offseason and free agency, but they also need a quarterback. So in this draft that I was just a part of, the Giants took Haskins. That's his name, right? Quarterback from Ohio State.
That is correct.
They took him in the first round. And so that made everything change because a lot of people aren't thinking the Giants are going to take a quarterback in this draft because it's not a very good quarterback draft class. Um, Kyler Murray went number 1 overall. Well, no one knows if that's going to happen. What if the Arizona Cardinals keep Josh Rosen? And then you get to the Raiders. And if Kyler Murray's still available, does John Gruden pull the trigger on it? This is the crazy thing about these scenarios. And this is also the crazy thing about the NFL draft. And it's one of the reasons why I love watching it. So that's going to be coming. I'm excited that it's this Thursday. I'm excited that it's finally here and eventually some of the lead up will end. So here's a good question by Rob in the live chat. He said, if we can somehow get Devin White, do you think he's starting day 1?
I don't think you hand it to him automatically, but I think he has a fantastic chance. I know Shazier is basically the only player in a long time that they had listed as their starter whenever they first drafted him because they knew. It's possible that they could do that with White. I wouldn't flip out if they don't do that, if they would get White, but I think by week 1 he would be.
Yeah, they don't like just putting the crown on someone, so to speak, in terms of being a starter. Trying to think if TJ Watt was just kind of handed that job. I don't think he was he, Dave?
That's what part of the reason there was the big falling out with James Harrison because
That's
TJ Watt
right. That's
ended up
right. That's right.
getting
That's right.
getting that spot. He
Yeah,
earned it.
that's a good point. Um, yeah. No, absolutely. So,
Thomas White, I agree. Clellan Farrell at 20. That's the guy I talked about on Thursday that I think the Steelers will end up with.
he went in that mock draft either 1 or 2 picks before I got to pick.
That I'll tell you what, I think the Giants are the big wild card in this draft with 2
2
picks
first-round picks. They
before the
got the one from
Steelers.
Cleveland, yeah.
6 and what's the other one? 17. And when I was doing my mock draft, it came down to do I let the Giants take Farrell or do I not? And the thing is, you don't know what the Giants going to do. If you've heard their GM and some of the interviews he's done, oh my goodness, how frustrated would you be to be a Giants fan right now? He's
Yeah.
just, I don't
They
really trust him
in
at
the mock
all.
draft I was a part of today. In the mock draft tonight, they took Haskins in the first pick, and they took DK Metcalf in their second one with the second pick.
If you want to know what mine is, I actually had them taking Locke out of Missouri, that quarterback, because I had Haskins getting with a surprise pick to Oakland,
Mm,
and I had them take Locke. Then I had them take, I think, an offensive lineman, which would actually be really smart of them because their offensive line is a lot to
yeah.
be desired.
Okay, another question here. What do you think about David Long Jr. from West Virginia in the third if we don't get a Devon? That's from Matt Thomas.
You want me to take that?
Say that again, Dave.
You want me to take the question?
Absolutely. I don't know much about the guy.
Okay. I would say he is a possibility. I think the Steelers like him, but I also think there's other guys that they would like it too. I think now I can't Jermaine. I can't remember his last name out of NC State. Would be a good inside linebacker in the second round if he was available. If they don't, round by round, there's guys that would be possible. If they don't have an inside linebacker at 1 or 2, I think it's highly possible that they could take Long in the third round.
Okay, who's the receiver that they like from West Virginia so much?
That's Sills. Is that his name? I that they said it could be a third or fourth rounder. I could see them taking him as well, even in the third, if not fourth. Um, I would bet on him being a Steeler probably more than almost anybody else because I think that's similar to a James Conner situation where everyone knew the Steelers were going to draft James Conner unless someone else grabbed him first, and that's why a lot of people thought when they took James Conner with their comp pick in the third, it might have been too soon, but they wanted him, so they took him when they
Yeah.
made sure they got him, and boy, isn't it great that they got him.
It is. It is. It's hysterical. I asked the question to you, and people in the live chat are filling me in. They're saying Sills, 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 and in typical Steeler fan fashion, someone writes, "Still sucks." Oh, that is so funny. Okay.
I don't know if he's that great. I just know that the Steelers do really like him.
I don't know. Gosh, I don't know what it was about this draft season, man. I normally keep a much better eye, and it's never as close as you and Brian, but I normally keep a much better eye on these prospects, and I don't know anything about these guys. Like I don't know is Sill's size. I don't know. Is he a deep threat? Is he a possession receiver? Is he a slot guy? I don't know a thing about these guys, and I feel bad because I do a lot of these podcasts and I don't talk about these. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. So there you go.
I will be honest with you, Jeff. I'm not a big college football guy. It's a lot of games on Saturdays, and I'm generally busy. The only thing
Yeah.
I know stuff about draft is because I just look up what other people say. All I'm doing
Yeah.
is taking in information from a ton of different places and 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 trying to draw a conclusion. And I don't actually see, I mean, I see some clips here and there, but I don't break it down a bunch myself. I just get lots and lots of opinions that I try to compile. So I would never call myself a draft guru or anything like that.
Yeah, well, people were filling me in here. Sills a 6'4", 212. It's a nice
Yeah,
tall
I
target.
knew he was pretty tall.
Yeah. And a 4.5 40, it's not too bad for a guy that size, so that's pretty good. Um, I asked Lance this yesterday, and I don't know if you had a chance to check out the show. I think you just popped into the live chat a little bit yesterday. So
Yeah.
my question was a sleeper position. Would be a position in the first round, assuming they stay at 20? What would be a position in the 2019 NFL draft that you would say, "Wow, I cannot believe they just took a blank, whatever that is."
Uh,
For instance, I
I,
said running.
oh,
I said running back.
running back is the
I would
no-brainer.
I would throw my phone against the wall if they took a running back.
I'm also going to say quarterback
Yep.
because why do you want someone in the first round that's going to be buried on the depth chart? You want someone that'll contribute. And I'll be honest with you, you and I both being big fans, I still think if he was 1 year later, Mason Rudolph would be the best quarterback in this draft class.
I you said
But
that the other day.
he
You
was
said that,
buried in
yeah.
last year's really good class. So you got him last year in the third, and this year he would be first rounder, no brainer.
Man,
Um,
did he come out of college as a junior?
I'm not sure. I'll be, I don't think, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just giving a guess.
Because you would have to think, man, if he didn't, let's say he did come out as a junior, if he would have waited. I mean, I think that he was more accomplished than Kyler Murray from a college standpoint.
Yeah.
Um, And who are the other quarterbacks? Haskins? Are you serious? In the Big Ten? No. In terms of throwing the football and athleticism, I mean, it's going to be comparable. Locke from Missouri. I just think that, yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I'm trying to take my fanboyness out of the Mason Rudolph conversation, but at the same time, it makes you wonder if he wasn't a senior. I think he was a senior. I'll have to double check on that. So, uh, here's a question from Nightwolf. He said, "How many picks do we trade? We have 10, but 10 guys will not make the roster. So, how many picks do you think they wind up actually selecting, Dave, out of 10?"
Um, I would really like to say 8 that they gave up 2 picks to move up in the first. Um, it could be it could be 9 because they make a move later on where they just give an extra pick. It could be as little as 7 because they take a few moves in there. They could gain stuff by trading back, but like I said Thursday night, kind of disagreeing with you and Brian, I don't want to see them trade back because I think there's going to be one of those good players there. I think they're going to have to make a tough choice. You probably had options when you were doing your mock draft tonight. I know
Yeah.
when you did another one for SB Nation that you had a lot of options that
Hmm.
you weren't expecting to have at 20. I think they're going to I don't think it's going to be like an Artie Burns. I don't think it's going to be like last year. I don't think it's going to be like, oh my, who should we take? It's going to be like, oh wow, who out of these guys do we want the most? So I think
Yeah.
they're going to stay there if they don't move up because I think they're going to have that. So I don't think they're going to need to trade back and gain more picks that they then trade later. So I'm thinking 8 or 9 picks in all.
Okay. So, yeah, and I agree. I said 8 originally. Here's a question. If both linebackers are gone, and let's assume that those are the only positions they're looking at, they're not. There's more positions than just linebacker, but the question from Snowman is, would you take Hakeem Butler? That's the Iowa State receiver, I believe. At 20, he's 6'6", 220. He says can catch like Spider-Man. I like the when Spider-Man's skill set is compared to a receiver. I've seen this guy mocked in the second round. I've yet to see him get a first round grade. But my question is, if they love Sills so much, who we talked about, the West Virginia product, would you take Hakeem Butler and Sills in the same draft? I'm not so sure. And is Hakeem Butler viewed as a first round talent? I mean, what do you think, Dave?
I don't have him in the first round, so I wouldn't take him there. I think there's going to be a lot of waivers available to the Steelers in the first round if they want to go that way. I don't think they're going to go that way because of the Sills factor. I think that they feel that they have people that they like just as much that they can get better value for later. So not using that first round pick because I got someone who I think for us will work out just as well, but I can get him in the third, and that's a good way to look at things. I in my mock draft I had DK Metcalf going as the first receiver off the board, and that was at 19.
Okay.
So there was both Browns were available. Um, Really, who I think of any receiver that's going to go first is the best tight end from Iowa, Hawkinson. I think he'll
Yeah.
be the first quote unquote receiver because he is
Right.
a tight end that'll go.
Well, let me ask you this, and let me see if you agree or disagree. I don't see the Steelers moving in the first round. As much as I would love to see him be aggressive and trade up, I just it's just not Kevin Colbert's style to do that. He's done it before, but at the same time, I don't know. There's something that tells me that agree or disagree, Dave. I think they're going to be making a lot of trades, but it's going to be in rounds 2 and 3. They're going to be using some of that capital to move around in those rounds because everything I've read, and again, I'm not a draft Nick, but everything I've read said that in rounds 2 and 3 is where there is a ton of talent still available.
I would take that. I would say stay where you are at one, take best available, and do take some of your later picks to try to gain an extra second or third round pick. I mean, man, if you can come up and get 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, that would you wouldn't need anything beyond that. That's all you would need, and then go pick up your undrafted free agents after you're done.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. But I don't know that they can. Like I said, if you're not trading up for a Devon, I don't think you're trading up. I'm going to put percentages. I'm going to say uh, I'm going to go 85% chance that the Steelers stay where they are for round one, and I'm going to say a 12% chance they trade up and 3% chance they trade back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So do you have any questions for me or for the live chat before we call it a show?
Oh wow, I got to catch up here a little bit. Some people are saying, well, what happens if Sills is gone? Well, if Sills is gone, then Sills is gone. That's why sometimes you see Steelers will take someone around before what you think. It's all going to depends on how it plays out. Here's my question for you, Jeff, or for anyone in the live chat. How many trades do you see going on draft night in the first round?
So not the Steelers, just in general.
Anybody. How many trades do you think will happen? You can even answer it in two parts. How many do you think will happen before 20 and how many do you think will happen total in the first round?
Okay. Well, let's do the Las Vegas thing on here. And what would you want to set the over under line at?
I'm not sure. 3?
Yeah, I think 3 or 2.5 would be a good line
Okay.
on this. Um, I would say if the line is set at 3, oh, if it's 3, I would be tempted to just say it's going to push. If it's 2.5, I'll tell you what. If it's 3, I'll go under. I think there'll be 2 trades in the first round of the NFL draft. I don't think it. I'm not sure it's going to be as crazy as some of the past. I mean, I don't know what is the average. I wouldn't even know to look that up, nor would I want to look that up. But I mean, is it? I'm trying to think. Last year, were there a lot of trades last year in the first round?
If I would have known, I could have looked it up before we got here. It would take me a little bit of time to find it, but I could. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. Even if it's 3.5, I'm going to take the over. There's going to be at least 4 trades.
Really?
I mean, look at last year. How many different trades there were? I mean,
Well,
that's
that's why I
including
asked you.
because look, three. There were 3 first round trades last year just involving quarterbacks. Wait, I might be getting my years mixed up. I know Lamar Jackson was a trade back into the first round.
Yes.
And didn't and some of these trades might have been even before the actual draft night. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be more than what you think.
Okay.
I
All right.
think
Well,
it's
we'll
always
see.
been more. I'm telling you, last year might have been like 6. It might have been that many.
Maybe. Well, you'll take the over. It's set at 3. You take
Yep.
the over. I'll take the under. We'll see how it
Okay.
pans out. You'll probably be right because
Now
now that
that's
you
six
mentioned.
total. That's all in the first round, even after 20.
Right.
Okay.
No, I know because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, shoot. it would be set higher than 3.
Yeah.
The line would probably be a
I'll
5.
no, I'll give you 3.5, so you could even have it if it's 3.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
There you go. So, all right. Well, you know what? I just want to say again, congratulations to Bo. For those that are joining us late, Bo, who is in the live, maybe still is in the live chat. He won the tickets, and he lives in California, and he's giving them to his parents who live in Pennsylvania. He mentioned in the live chat that he called them. They're ecstatic. That's awesome. That's just really cool. So I just want to thank you, Dave, for orchestrating all of it and getting the questions together. All I did was read your questions on the air. This was not my brainchild whatsoever. It was all Dave Schofield. So make sure I want to give props to him for that. Now, Dave, anything to add before we call it a show?
No, this is fun, and sometimes it's just nice answering questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as Lance Williams always says, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. You can subscribe to us in a multitude of areas. That's YouTube. Go to BTSE Steelers Radio. Also on our audio platforms, anywhere where you find your podcast. That's Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play. Doesn't matter. Search Steelers Behind the Steel Curtain. The standard is the standard. Wherever you search, you'll probably find the BehindTheSteelCurtain.com logo, and obviously BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. It should be your one-stop shop for all your Pittsburgh Steelers needs. We'll see you next time for another episode of the Steelers Preview.